Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. Excuse me, a little something in my throat. So today, of course, what we're talking about is the markets and why it's a green day and what's going on behind the scenes. And this is one of those weeks where it will not disappoint the activity that is going on as far as we call it Fed week. Now, we just had the OPEC monthly report. This was yesterday. And today, we get two big pieces of information that's pretty important. CPI inflation data and the Fed interest rate decision, and also the press conference as well. So for this one, I have to tell you, the FOMC meeting will be televised, or will be live announcements as far as 2 p.m. Eastern time. Right now, it is 10 a.m. Eastern time, so you look at another 4 hours or so. But so far, things are looking pretty good. And we've seen a little bit of a jump in the market itself over 24 hours. Bitcoin's up. Actually, everything's up. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say like it's awful. It's great. I mean, we're up. Everybody's happy. But let's be honest. Market cap 2.6, Bitcoin 69,000. When have we heard that before? Oh yeah, like the last 2 months. So, I mean, it's just volatility. It's normal. And quite honestly, it's kind of boring. Today is good and we should rejoice because this is what we have. But over time, I think these numbers are going to look very paltry when we get into the real bull market. And when I talk about that, I mean like the blow off top bull market. So this is what happened. CPI numbers came in and it looks like they were quite favorable. So this is actually from Barron's. I reposted this on X or on my Twitter account. Headline CPI increased by 3.3% year over year. And that was in May versus 3.4% expected by economists, according to FactSet. Index was flat month over month versus 0.1% growth, which was expected. And we didn't see that. We actually went to a little bit of a stagnation, which is good. We don't want to see too much inflation moving forward. And we want to see those numbers drop. And when those numbers drop, that means the Fed's doing their job. When the Fed feels like they've done their job, then, of course, we can start to get rate cuts. And then when we get the rate cuts, then we get this great thing called quantitative easing, which is fantastic because we print money in America. That's what we do. Anyhow, of course, CPI increased by 3.4% year over year versus 3.5% expected in May. On a monthly basis, the index rose by 0.2 versus the 0.3% expected. So isn't that amazing? Just that little piece, a little bit of amount can have a massive effect on the markets. Now, is this a rational market? In some circles, you could say it actually is. But in all honesty, this is where we're going. And if you believe those numbers, and believe this is all definitely what it is, then great. I am happy that the market is going where it is. But you have to remember one thing. Let me go back real quick. This is a great piece. This is actually from friend of the show, Simon Dixon. And this takes a look at what inflation really is. This is about 30 seconds or so. I want you to listen to this and just kind of remind yourself that, wow, 3.4%, that's not too bad. Something like that. But make sure you can actually hear this. Let me put this on, share on the tab. Take a listen.
That's the cost of living crisis. Suddenly we went up from prices being around there to prices being there. And you don't really see that in this data, okay? Because inflation is really just measuring the difference between that and that. And if you look at those two lines, you're talking about a 2.3% change. That's the number we're talking about today. But for a lot of people, it's not about that. It's about the difference between this and that. And when you look at the difference between this and that, that's 20%. And I think that's the dichotomy here between these inflation numbers where it looks normal and this, which is really not normal at all.
Which is really not normal at all. And that's pretty much, I couldn't have said it better myself. So we look at these numbers and we get excitable, and some people will say, why do we even care about those numbers? I'm not a big proponent of saying that that is the most accurate data that we can possibly get. Remember, it is from the government. But however, a lot of people look at that, especially institutions and Wall Street and everything else, and they look at that and say, that looks good, I'm going to invest. Everybody wants to feel like they are in control, when in reality, nobody really is in control. So when you look at this, you just say, all right. And the question is then, what do you do with this information? Now, we talked about this recently where we talked about how to play and to get into these dips and to sit back and do what you want to do. There's always a rationale of what you can do when different reports come out. Me personally, I keep buying a dollar cost average, and I'm waiting for something bigger. I'm not here to get out of bed for 3.5%. That is a snooze fest. I'm not in traditional equities. I'm in crypto. And when we start to get the 20, 30% pumps, wake me up. So anyhow, that's what we have for that piece. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And then also, more good news. I've been waiting, wanted to share this for a while, but all the different news has really piled up. This is from Bitcoin News, and it looks like Bitcoin mining hits an all-time high of utilizing almost 56%, roughly almost 60% of sustainable energy. So I know there's like this big hindrance of getting into Bitcoin mining because it's going to destroy the planets, and that's what people talk about, and there's just so much electricity used. And I'm like, have you seen the electricity waste that we do for everything else in the world? I don't think it's anybody's business of what Bitcoin is actually being used. It secures the network, and it's the safest and the best decentralized economy we have in the entire world. So if we have to use a little bit of energy, so much the better. And hey, guess what? Almost 60% of the time, we're using renewables. So I like to see these reports. This kind of like refutes the experts as they come out. That is fantastic. And also, Donald Trump. And every time I say that, I like to say it a little bit louder because I know there's a collective groan across the spectrum of my subscribers. Some of you hate him, some of you love him. But I just want to keep you aware of what has been said. Now, if Joe Biden said this, I would definitely be talking about it as well. But he hasn't. Trump vows to make U.S. a Bitcoin mining powerhouse if reelected. Here's what we have. This is actually posted on Truth Social. And he states, look, Bitcoin mining may be our last line of defense against the CBDC. Biden's hatred of Bitcoin can only help China, and the radical communist left. We want all the remaining Bitcoin to be made in the USA. It will help us be energy dominant. Remember who is going forward for Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining and who is not. Now, if you don't like, you're not going to vote for Trump, or you're not going to vote for Biden, or you're going to vote for JFK, whatever you want to do. I don't really mind. I'm not your dad. This is not voting advice. But remember the people that talk about CBDCs and pushing that agenda. Elizabeth Warren being one of them. I highly recommend that you try to get her out of office. And there is a link in the description to vote for John Deaton, or excuse me, to fundraise for John Deaton. Anyhow, I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. And lastly, before we get in the Q&A, Aethir. Now, Aethir is a new altcoin, and we had been talking about this for 2 months. I personally believe that DePIN and AI, or DePIN, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks, and AI, artificial intelligence, will be the primary narrative going into the next bull run, and there is massive potential. Aethir today came out of nowhere and is now ranked number 250. And it's looking pretty good. We had talked about this 2 months ago. I have a second channel called Dan Degen where I get into the more risky stuff where you could pull some profits or you could lose everything. One of those two things will happen. Just being honest. And we talked about this, did very well. People responded to it. And I want to congratulate those guys for doing what they said they were going to do, which was launching in Q2. I didn't think they were going to do it, and here they are. But there was some things that were concerning. This circulating supply of 3.7 billion versus the total supply, which is 42 billion. And people, when I posted this on X, they were like, those tokenomics suck. That's awful. You have a point, actually. But we talked about this in the video as far as specifically the tokenomics themselves. And we talked about, why I thought it was going to do real well. Mostly it was because of hype and the people that were behind it. And it was actually a pretty good project. When we got the tokenomics, I said, look, here's the max supply. But there's a thing called a cliff. And we're talking about investing cliffs. That means it's locked up. And for liquidity, Dow Treasury, private sales, human advisors, it's like a year or a year and a half cliff. They can't touch the token. And that's why there's so few that's out there. And the big thing is the mining reward is 50%. So I've already linked the video in the description. You can check it out for yourself, what Aethir is and why I'm so excited about it, and go from there. Because again, not financial advice, doing research, all that great stuff. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now, If you want to stick around, I'll do a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions to the best of my abilities, and we'll go from there. But if you got to take off, take off. I do appreciate you stopping by. Fantastic. Now let's get into a little Q&A. And A says, Bitcoin going up again. Let's take a look. That is interesting. Let's see how much it is. 69,000. If it hits 70, no, not so much. But hey, in the last hour, it's up 0.4, 3.9 in 24 hours. That's pretty good. Nothing to write home about. Again, I don't get out of bed for 4%. Come on. I mean, I got out of bed because I got to walk my dog and I get to go down and walk by the beach, which is nice. All right. Shalin said, sounds like a great project after those circulating and max supply get closer together. Nah, I mean, this is one of the things that people will say. But again, if you have everything locked up for 12 months and 18 months for early rounds, and people like me, you know, you're like, it's not too bad. So you got a year to figure it out. And again, in like 12 months to 18 months, you know what that means? We're at the peak of the bull market, I think, if you're looking at 4-year cycles. So at that point, you're probably going to get dumped on. But if you hold it for that long, hey, it's up to you. I told you to take profits, right? It's one of my rules I'm always talking about. And, you know, just make your best decision. I think it's pretty good. And also you can do staking with it too, as well. Let's see. We burnt all of our DVDs that had Robert De Niro in them. You're showing your age, Sprocket. DVDs, remember those? Remember tape decks? Yeah, good times. Let's see. Will BRICS be using XRP? There's always rumblings of BRICS in the different nations, which would be Russia, China, India, and like I think 17 others that are trying to circumvent the US dollar, which is fine. I mean, look, you guys are they're getting squeezed by sanctions. They don't use the US dollar. Great. And they're talking about using XRP as trans-border payment system. And we'll see if it actually happens. But I mean, how long have we been in this space? Us, me and you, Master Blaster. Quite a long time. And you've probably been hearing a lot about, well, XRP is going to be used for this, and they're going to be used for this at this bank, and it's really going to blow up. And what happens to the price? It's a stable coin. So I'll believe it when I see it, and I still have a little XRP. And if it grows up, hey, we're happy. But I'm not going to bet the farm on it. But I hope it does go up, because I really like these XRP holders to be rewarded for holding for so long instead of getting dumped on all the time. BRICS equals dictators. We're all dictators. Come on. Remember Raytrack? Yeah. Wow. VHS. All right. Now we're going crazy. Laser disc. Remember those? Didn't you buy the dip? We all bought the dip, pretty much, right? I mean, I buy it regardless. I don't have to think about it because everything just auto executes on Coinbase. DCAs go every day. I have some that I buy every day, some that I buy every 3 days, and some I buy every week. And then people will say, well, how can you afford those fees? That seems kind of ridiculous. There's this thing called Coinbase One where you pay, I got into it like a year and a half ago. It was like $20 a month. And up to $10,000, the transaction fees are waived. After that, you got to pay. So I'm like, it's not too bad. And now I think it's like $30. I think it's going up to like $40. I have no affiliate links with them. So you just have to go to Coinbase.com and figure that out. HC says, hey, Rob, thanks for your help. 2 things. Go Kane. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. So we bought like $30 of it because like I was like saying, like it's a lottery ticket. And it went like this and then like this. So I'm like, great. Sold, take a little profits, and that was it. And now it's like this. But remember, this thing called Kane, it's apparently this guy, I forgot his name already, but he's like a really great striker. You guys call that in soccer or football, or you want to call it. And they burn like 100,000 tokens every time he scores a goal. So we'll see how it works out. Again, don't bet your life savings on it. Slack says, ADA is a dead chain, but I wish the best for any holders. Well, there's some things going on in there. What is that? The guys from Cornucopia was on yesterday. Check that video out. But they did a multi-chain, which was, I think, smart. They started on BNB. They did a bridge over to ADA. Now they're on Ethereum and Base. And I thought that was a pretty good idea because then it's just, whatever chain actually does the best is the one they'll be using, and the ones that people choose to be will, of course, be what they use to play in that game. So as far as Cardano being a dead chain or a ghost chain, there's things happening, but not as much as like some other ones. But remember, slow goes the boat. And maybe the slow turtle will win the race. I'm not for sure. That's why I diversify. Chuck is expanding today. Fantastic. I think it's another meme coin. Opinions on render. Actually, we talked about render in that video. Let me bring this up. In the Aethir video. And we compared, right here. We compared the amount of GPUs that have been deployed by Aethir, Akash, Render, Gitsin, and IO.net. And Render's going to do well. Let's say what it is. Render's going to do great. And all these projects that are trying to do AI deep in are going to do great. And the reason why is because there is such a push for this compute power that there's no way that we're going to be able to have this all done by one sector, or excuse me, one individual or one entity or one institution. It has to be a multifaceted approach, and all these different companies are going to have to get on. And when we took a look at, and that's why we went through this interview with Elon Musk, and he talks about just how difficult compute will be able to be garnered from all these different locations, and that it's just going to be, again, a multifaceted approach. So I think Render will do great. I think Aethir will do pretty good as well, and Akash and everything else in between. But we'll see. Okay. Mohammed, you said he'd share me on X, that Zach would see me and might be able to help with my stolen property. After that, he didn't care about my tags and mentions. Listen, man, put it in X right now. Every time that you've been on the show, okay, I'm going to stop everything. I'm going to stop everything that we're doing. I want you to post that right now on X, and I want you to tag me. And let's go to my X account, because every time I go there, it doesn't show up. I'll wait. I'll wait right now. I got nothing going on. What the heck is this? Oh, sweet Mary Joseph. Jim Krager with Aggie Azalea. Yeah, Jim's a small, short guy. Okay, Mohammed, where is it? Everybody, we're waiting for Mohammed to tweet on me in X, because I promise I'm going to do something. Every time it comes through, it never comes through. Mentions. Let me refresh this. Let me refresh this. Let me refresh this. Still waiting, Mohammed. Yeah, dead air, waiting for Mohammed. These are mentions. Are you mentioning the right person? At news asset. Here, let me do this. You have to tag me at news asset. No. We're gonna give everybody a fair shot here. I know this isn't gonna do too well. If you got to take off, take off. I'm gonna take care of this right now. Okay. Hilarious. Uh-huh. Given Leonard, Jep. All made up numbers. Oh, I know. Hey, if you guys want to post things here, I'll do it right here. Muhammad's still waiting for you. How long have we been doing this? No, I'm just waiting. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm stubborn. All right, Muhammad, you got 3 minutes. It's 10:27 where I'm at. Chris is a good idea. No. EJ Cruda says, are you law enforcement of the crypto space? He doesn't deserve the help if he can help him. No, I promised him I would do it. But every time that I go to mentions and we do this afterwards, I never see it. So maybe it's just me. Hey, man. Oh, Ryan. Let's see. 2 more minutes. Now you guys understand why me and my wife fight sometimes. Because I am super stubborn and I get bogged down and I have to go in one direction. Time for John to ring through. Don't tempt him, he'll will. Verified. You know, we better, Mohammed. Why don't you just put your Twitter handle in the comments at whatever, and then I'll find you, and I'll find your tweet, and I'll put it to Zach. And remember, this is for Zach XBT. And remember, just because Muhammad lost all of his funds, and even if he does the investigation and finds out where it is, it doesn't mean to be able to get him back. But I'm willing to help. So just put your Twitter handle here. Zoran says, maybe you can't see him unless you follow him. I can't follow him. I don't know who the heck he is. All right, it's been 10:30. And I don't see him. Well, that was a complete waste. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, I could have been a little bit nicer about it. Let's see. John says, thoughts on timing of high of cycle. I never really thought that you could do it. And I still don't think you can tie the absolute top, but I've got a couple of videos and some indicators where I think you might want to look at and kind of go from there. There's a link in the description for 2 videos. The top one is when I'm selling 80% of my crypto and the indicators that I'm going to use. That would be like the MVRV Z score, the Pull multiple, pi cycle top, fear and greed, RSI, all that good stuff, and kind of mash them together. And the big one, time and risk bands. So watch that video. And the second one underneath that is called the half and half method. And the half and half method is for like the more risky emerging plays, and why I think that's a pretty good one to go for. So check those two out and go from there. That's the best way. Oleg says, how did he lose his funds? What happened? I don't. Muhammad told me in one of the messages here, and I don't know. I forgot. I think it was that, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't forget it. If I'm not mistaken, it was a hack on his personal information, and he had two-factor authentication put in, but it was on his phone, so he got a SIM swap issue. So we'll see. You look like my buddy Ben McCormick. Handsome guy. Yeah, bicycle top. What are you going to do? Yeah, SMS authorization is a tough one. I can do that too. You guys weren't selling at the bottom? No, I mean, but it doesn't matter. Like whenever you sell, like if you're in a public space like I am, and every time that I say that I took some profits or sold, you will eventually, like most people will like, that's a good idea. You know, you want to sell and take some profits. But there's always some people like, you're a moron because, you know, it's going to go up, you know, this much. Well, yeah, but everybody's different, right? I don't know what everybody's specific goals are and what they need to do. If they've got massive debts or health issues or helping out with the family. So yeah, everybody's different. There's no like one size fits all. Oh, nice. Getting boating done. Very nice. Yeah, money loss is a great education. Pain is the best educator. Other than that, it's very difficult to learn. You know, Warren Buffett will talk about you have to learn from your mistakes, but it seems like very few people actually do that. Let's see. Yeah. So B, when you said that I couldn't see it, there you are. 2-minute warning. It's funny. Best live chat ever. Yeah. You know, when this gets repeated, maybe I'll just delete this part. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna delete this part. All right, everybody, that's it. So tomorrow, as a reminder, tomorrow we have the NFA live show. I'll be on Guy's channel over at Coin Bureau Clips, and then Ben will be there. Also, Ben did a great video. I'd also recommend you guys watch this one. Into the Cryptoverse. And he took a look at data about what Bitcoin did before the FOMC and the CPI reveal, and how things worked and where things went. So check that out. Into the Cryptoverse. Pretty good video about what could happen. So far, it's playing out. It's interesting. 4.5%. Wow, we might get back to 70,000. Watch out. Anyhow, that's it for today, everybody. So thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. Like today's video. Hit the like on the way out. You don't have to subscribe, but at least hit the like. The dislike button's broke. And that's it. See everybody tomorrow. Adios.